for the valedictory function of the National Conference on Animal Sciences Integrated Solution for Sustainability that is held from 1st March 2023 to 3rd March 2023, organized by the Zoology Discipline, School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology, Goa University. During this conference, we had the opportunity to hear eminent personalities deliver their talks in the form of keynote addresses and invited lectures. We also had a number of participants who took part in the poster presentation and oral presentations during the course of this conference. To begin the valedictory function, I request the convener and the Dean of School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology, Goa University, Professor Savita Kerkar, to kindly escort the dignitaries to the dais. We have our chief guest for the day, Shri Ajay Saxena, and our organizing secretaries, Dr. Shamshad Sheikh and Dr. Avelino de Costa. I request Professor Savita Kerkar to welcome our chief guest for the day with a floral bouquet. I request Dr. Shamshad Sheikh to welcome Professor Savita Kerkar with a floral bouquet. Requesting Dr. Samantha to present a floral bouquet to our organizing secretaries, Dr. Shamshad Sheikh and Dr. Avelino de Costa. Thank you, Dr. Samantha. I now request Professor Savita Kerkar, convener and dean of School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology, Goa University, to say a few words on the occasion of this valedictory function.
Conservator of forest who's with us today, and he's left his grandson, he told me, and he's come for this function. So thank you very much, sir, for coming here and gracing this occasion. So I think all of us are very, very happy with all the talks. We've had lots of sessions on biodiversity, wildlife conservation, endocrinology, molecular biology, genetic engineering, nutrition, immunology, and health, then entomology, parasitology, fish and aquaculture, and animal models, and 23 posters and 7 oral presentations, which is quite a good participation, I think. And we met very eminent personalities in the field of animal sciences and zoology, and it's a nice opportunity to interact together and do collaborative research also when you get new ideas. And I think all of you are going back with lots of new ideas. So welcome again for this valedictory function. I have to acknowledge the efforts put in by Dr. Avelino and Dr. Shamshad, who have worked very hard along with the whole discipline of zoology, and also integrated the participation of the SBSB, that is the School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology. So all of us have worked in unison here to make this event very successful. So we have also Nitin Sawant, who has, you must have heard his smiles when the lectures were going on, right? And his participation. And thank you all the dignitaries also for coming here and participating in this 2.5 day affair. Thank you once again, and welcome all of you for the valedictory function.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm words. I now request Dr. Preeti Pereira to read out the conference report.
Good morning. Uh, the National Conference on Animal Sciences Integrated Solutions for Sustainability began with the registration of the participants on 1st March 2023, followed by the inaugural program at 10:30 a.m., hosted by Dr. Samantha Fernandez de Mello. The dignitaries, esteemed Chief Guest, former Principal Chief Conservator of Forest, Shri Richard D'Souza, our convener, Professor Savita Kerkar, Dean, School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology, Goa University, and the organizing secretaries, Dr. Avelino de Costa and Dr. Shamshad Sheikh, assistant professors in zoology, were escorted to the dais. The delegates were welcomed by the students of Masters of Zoology by the melodious song, and the dignitaries on the dais were presented with a floral welcome. The convener, Professor Savita Kerkar, addressed the gathering and formally welcomed the delegates, which was followed by the lighting of the lamp. The conference was declared open by the release of the abstract book, which is a compilation of the invited talks and the oral and poster presentations. Dr. Nitin Sawan, Program Director of MSc Zoology, introduced the chief guest, Shri Richard D'Souza, and who addressed the gathering and sensitized the young minds to present their work wholeheartedly for the state of Goa and partake in its conservation. He also shared the glimpses about the work he undertook over the years and shared his present day efforts as well. He was presented with a memento as a token of appreciation. The inaugural was concluded by Dr. Shamshad Sheikh with the vote of thanks followed by the national anthem. Ms. Dwiti Mapari, Assistant Professor in Biotechnology, SPSB, introduced the keynote speaker, Professor K.K. Sharma, and invited him to deliver his keynote address. Professor K.K. Sharma, former Vice Chancellor and founder, Head of Department of Zoology, Ajmer, Rajasthan, delivered his keynote address on the topic Retinoid induced pluripotency during limb regeneration in anurins is a significant Indian contribution that shows pathway to stem cell regeneration. Professor Sharma emphasized on how Indian research can contribute to the world and concluded his address that despite being a small fraction, humans still have a lot to learn from other species. Professor Sharma was presented with a token of appreciation by the convener, Dr. Savita Kerkar. The first technical session began at 12 p.m. with Professor Savita Kerkar uh, as the chairperson and the rapporteur, Dr. Siddhi Zalmi, assistant professor in botany, on the theme Wildlife Biology, Biodiversity and Conservation, with the first invited talk by Dr. Vijaya Sarangi on sustainability issues of the highway ecosystem, challenges and integrated solution. The talk elaborated on how interdisciplinary approach of science and humanities is required to achieve sustainable development while conserving biodiversity and wildlife. A short discussion was held and the chairperson thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation. A short discussion was held and the chairperson thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation. A second talk was delivered by Dr. Pradeep Sarmokadam on integration of solution-based and participatory approach in animal science for sustainability. Dr. Sarmokadam emphasized on the need of conserving native species and importance of improving interconnected relationships through animal science. Endocrinology, developmental biology, physiology, biochemistry, molecular biology, genetics, and nanobioscience began at 2:45, hosted by Ms. Nesha Bomkar, with the chairperson, Professor K.K. Sharma, former Vice Chancellor, Ajmer, Rajasthan, and co-chairperson, Professor Bilave, and rapporteur, Dr. Samantha Fernandez de Mello. The first invited talk for this technical session began at 3 p.m., delivered by Dr. Arnab Banerjee, Associate Professor, Department of Biological Sciences, BITS Pilani, Goa campus, on the theme uh, New Insights to the Grand Old Master Hormone, Mammalian Gonadotropin Releasing Hormone. He spoke about the functioning of the neurohormones and the gonadotropin, in particular, and its role in fertilization. A short discussion was held, and the chairperson thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation. The second talk was delivered by Dr. S.K. Sharma, former head of Department of Zoology, Goa University, on applications of genetic toxicology and sustainability. Dr. Sharma started his session by explaining some basic topics such as sustainability, toxicology, its various fields and types. He spoke about the various strategies that can be used for a sustainable earth like rainwater harvesting, flora and faunal studies, and grey water treatment and reuse. The last talk of the day was delivered by Professor R. Roy, entitled A Crosstalk Between Glucose Homeostasis and Omega 3 Fatty Fats in Diabetic Management. Professor Roy began the session by introducing omega 3 fats and their physiological importance. He also emphasized on the roles of PUFAs in health, eicosanoids, and the role they play, and provided an overview of diabetes and the types of diabetes. A short discussion was held, and the chairperson thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation and closed the session. The session ended with concluding remarks by the chairperson and presentation of memento to the chairperson and the rapporteur. The poster session was held in the chemistry foyer from 4:45 to 5 p.m. and was chaired by Dr. Ajit Mohanty, scientist and officer in charge, NIMR Field Station, Dr. Meghnad Prabhu, assistant professor and program director of MSc Biotechnology, and Dr. Bhakti Salgaonkar, assistant professor in botany, SPSP. 22 participants submitted their research for poster presentations. The posters displayed brought to attention the vastness of the contemporary research in the field of animal sciences, and the feedback received from the judges was encouraging. The day two third technical session began at 10 p.m. on the themes nutrition, immunology, and health science, and medical entomology and parasitology. It was hosted by Dr. Aditi Naik, assistant professor in botany, who introduced the three speakers for the session. The chairperson of the session was Professor S.K. Sharma, senior professor and former head of Department of Zoology, and rapporteur Dr. Preeti Pereira. Dr. R.G. Wiseman Pinto delivered the first talk on his intensive collaborative research with researchers from the medical fraternity of various institutions in Goa and abroad. He elaborated on the post COVID 19 pandemic clinical scenario in Goa. The chairperson opened the session for deliberation with the audience and thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation. The next talk was on zoonotic diseases, a wake up call by Dr. Savio Rodriguez, ex professor and head microbiology, Goa Medical College, Bambolim. Dr. Savio provided a holistic view regarding zoonosis, causative agents, and reasons for zoonotic outbreaks. He elaborated on the different types of zoonotic diseases caused by wild and domestic animals and the general population most at risk of zoonotic diseases. After a short deliberation with the audience, the chairperson thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation. The last talk of the session was on malaria elimination in Goa State, progress, challenges, and priorities by Dr. Ajit Kumar Mohanty, Senior Scientist and Officer in Charge, ICMR, NIMR, the Goa Field Station. Dr. Mohanty spoke on the National Framework for Malaria Elimination and its objectives, highlighting the end goal to maintain zero indigenous status by 2030. Dr. Mohanty emphasized on the challenges and strategies employed to achieve this goal with ongoing projects supported by various institutions. A short discussion was held, and the chairperson thanked the speaker by presenting a memento as a token of appreciation. The session ended with concluding remarks by the chairperson and presentation of memento to the chairperson and rapporteur, followed by a break for tea. The fourth technical session was on the theme of fish biology, aquaculture, livestock management and animal husbandry, and interdisciplinary studies using animal models, which was held at 12:30 p.m. The chairperson was Professor Krishnan Selappan, Senior Professor and Vice Dean, SPSP Goa University, with the rapporteur Dr. Shanti Desai, Assistant Professor in Zoology, SPSP Goa University. A total of 5 invited talks were scheduled for this session. 2 talks were scheduled before the lunch break and 3 following the lunch. All 5 speakers were introduced to the audience by Dr. Samantha Fernandez de Melo. Talk on marine ecosystem sustainability fisheries by Dr. Shamila Montero, Director of Directorate of Fisheries Goa, focused on fishery-related policy decisions and pollution caused to the marine waters. Talk ended with the plea to practice proper disposal of waste and that otherwise find its way into the ocean. Following the talk, discussion was taken up, followed by a vote of thanks and presentation of a token of appreciation to the speaker. This was followed by the talk on evaluation of drugs for central nervous system activity, presented by Professor Madhusudan P. Joshi, Professor, Department of Pharmacology, Goa College of Pharmacy. The talk emphasized a study involving Ayurvedic formulation effects on CNS parameters. The presenter presented the video on the methodology of the maze test that was performed on rodent models used for their study. Following the talk, the discussion was taken up, followed by the vote of thanks and presentation of a token of appreciation to the speaker. Following the lunch, the session resumed with the talk on biomimetics and new technologies presented by Professor Savita Kerkar, Dean, School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology. Her talk exemplified various animal and plant morphological characters that have been inspired to be designs for new technological structures in use. Following the talk, the discussion was taken up, followed by vote of thanks and presentation of a token of appreciation to the speaker. Following that, a talk was delivered by Dr. T.T. Ajit Kumar, Principal Scientist and Scientist in Charge, PMFGR Center, ICR NBFGR, Kochi, Kerala, on marine ornamental aquaculture, opportunities and challenges in Indian perspective. This talk detailed about indigenous fishes and exotic fishes domesticated in India that have been explored for ornamental aquaculture opportunities in India. Following the talk, a discussion was taken up and followed by the vote of thanks and presentation of the token to the speaker. The last talk was on Marine Fisheries of India and Sustainable Fishing Method by Dr. Pradeep H.T., Fisheries Scientist, Fishery Survey of India, the Mamagaon Zonal Base, Mamagaon, Goa. Various trends in marine landings and fishing traps were discussed. The oral presentation session on the day 2 comprised a series of oral presentation and was hosted by Ms. Nesha Bomkar, Assistant Professor in Biotechnology. The chairperson for the session was Dr. Sanjeev Gadi, Vice Dean of the School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology, and was co-chaired by Dr. Pradeep H.D., Fishery Scientist, Fishery Survey of India, with the rapporteur Ms. Gandita Kundaikar. The session was chaired by Professor. The session began at 4 p.m. and ended at 5:15 p.m. with a total of 6 oral presentations with research on various integrated fields of life sciences such as ecotoxicology, nanoscience, physiology, molecular biology, and biodiversity. Professor Madhav Bilave from Kolhapur University initiated the oral presentation session. He presented his study on alteration hematological parameters of Syrinx mrigala after acute exposure to methanol. This was followed by the presentation delivered by Ms. Caroline Kanimoli from Christ University, who spoke on the identification of cow and buffalo species and determining gender from a tissue sample using real time PCR techniques. The third speaker of the session was Dr. Aditi Nayak from Goa University, who emphasized on the anti-tumor efficacy of Annona muricata extracts against early ascites, carcinoma, and Dalton's lymphoma ascites, facilitated tumors in Swiss albino mice. Her study included various toxicological, biochemical, and histological parameters which elucidated her research work. The next speaker was Ms. Sarita Ribello from Goa University, who spoke on carbon black nanoparticles, and her study incorporated the adverse effects of CBNP on mus musculus, emphasizing the histological and physiological parameters. This was followed by the presentation on determination of microplastics in economically important organisms of Goa, which was delivered by Dr. Avelino Di Costa. And the last presentation was by Ms. Prachi Talavnekar from Goa University. In her study, she emphasized the importance of eco-landscaping as one of the best choices for biodiversity and beautification of the Goa University campus. At the end of the session, the chairperson gave the concluding remarks, and the session ended with the vote of thanks to the chair and the co-chair. The 3 days national conference held from the 1st to 3rd March brought together experts to share their work and expertise on integrated solutions in animal sciences, and the response obtained was overwhelming. With more than 30 researchers from various states across the countries like Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Goa, who came together to share their knowledge and experiences in this platform, this, natural, this National Conference on Animal Sciences integrated solutions for sustainability, organized by the zoology discipline with the encouragement and support of the School of Biological Sciences and Biotechnology, Goa University, was a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Preeti. We have amongst us the chief guest of today's valedictory function, Shri Ajay Saxena. After graduation in 1980 from University of Allahabad, Sir has worked under Dr. Salim Ali in a project on bird migration at Point Calimore Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu, and Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary. Thereafter, he completed his master's in zoology from University of Allahabad in 1983 and then joined Indian Forest Services in 1984. He has managed forests and wildlife in tropical forests and coastal and marine ecosystems of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Goa, Mizoram, and Arunachal Pradesh for over 25 years. His training for wildlife management was done at Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, in 1989 to 90s and in biodiversity conservation planning in UK in 1995. Sir has participated in the 16th Indian scientific expedition to Antarctica in food and public distribution, Government of India from 2013 to 2015. Thereafter, he has headed the Forest Department of Goa from 2015 to 2019. He retired from the services in June 2021 as head of Forest Force of Arunachal Pradesh and is now settled in Goa. Presently, Sir is working as a consultant to Asian Development Bank in the project of Capacity Building Commission for Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, reviewing the training of frontline forest staff and officers across India and to make it more effective and relevant. He is also a national jury member of the Blue Flag Beach Certification Committee of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It is an honor to have you amongst us, sir. I request you to kindly address the gathering.
Very good morning. Speaking after a very, very long gap post-retirement, so I will be a bit sketchy or maybe not very fluent. So pardon me for that. I'm thankful to the Goa University for asking me to come for this function. It's the ending of a very, I think, the way it was presented, it was quite informative. And yesterday when I got a call from Dr. Meenal, I said, okay, I will do this thing, but give me the program also so that whatever I have missed, I can at least attend, which is going to happen. So yesterday afternoon, I could attend the program, and it was quite interesting for me because marine area is my specialization, and being actually worked in Andaman for a long time. My esteemed friends on the dais, Dr. Professor Sharma, yesterday I had a good talk with him. Also had a feedback on forest services, which I will share with my colleagues who are still working and will continue to work, or maybe some of you who will go in future to work for the forest department. I hope so. Dr. Nitin, we have worked earlier together in different capacities, but now good to see him here taking our future forward. And that's the way we look at the whole setup. I will start when you interact with each other, when you want to become something or somebody or do something, you at this stage where you are sitting now, most of you are researcher or students. We also have passed through that stage in our lives. And I remember lost chances can be big opportunities. Like your biology discipline, zoology discipline, like we had a zoology department, botany department, thing like that in the past. Now they have been integrated, like we've got a department or the discipline of biological sciences. The same thing was first attempted by Jawaharlal Nehru University way back in 1977-78 when the university was set up. And we were studying for our graduation. I was in zoology, botany, chemistry stream. And the life sciences department started by JNU was quite forward looking. And at that time, it was quite surprising also that even a maths student could join the life sciences department. So that was the openness of the program. And they wanted all minds, all type of minds should come together and work at an integrated level. And that's what was the topic of your conference also. You can't work in isolation. You should not think in isolation, because then you cut off yourself and miss out many things and many opportunities. So after my graduation, I applied for life sciences department in JNU, and they had a very strict entrance test, and I failed promptly in that. So I lost that opportunity. I could not get selected. So what to do? Because I have not admitted myself in my university itself. So what I did, I wrote to Dr. Salim Ali a small letter, one-page letter that I am so and so, and I'm very keen to work on birds. In 1979, there was no email, there was no computer, nothing, no phone, landline. That too very difficult. You have to book a call, STD, and all those things. So I just wrote a letter and forgot about it. And I was staying in the hostel where I was living because I couldn't go back to my parents also saying that I have nothing to do in my life. And one fine morning, I get a response from Bombay Naturalist Society, whose chairperson was Dr. Salim Ali, from the member secretary, Dr. Daniel. And they said, okay, Mr. Saxena, come for an interview to Point Kalimar. In those days, traveling out of UP I had just seen Delhi. So going to Tamil Nadu, Point Kalimar was a tough choice. I had to borrow money, take a train, long journey, Allahabad to Itarsi, and then without reservation, taking GT Express to then Madras, and no Hindi, nothing. So reached late night somewhere in Vedaranyam, crossing Nagapatnam, and a long story. So next day, I was asked when I reached Point Kalimar after 3 days of journey. The other scientists were going for work, and I was asked to accompany Dr. Salim Ali, the old man, and morning walk along the coast. I have seen ocean for the first time in my life also. It's a bay of Park Bay, just opposite Point Pedro of Sri Lanka. Fine. So I came early in the morning and we both started walking. I, a 20-year old, and 80 bird walk with nobody else, none other than Dr. Salim Ali. That wasn't a thing to cherish for my life. Fine. We had a good walk, had a good interview, and I was selected as a research assistant for 400 rupees. Research assistant only, not JRF, because I was only BSc. I worked there for a year or so, Point Kalimar, and then we were transferred to Bharatpur, rigging birds, got good things, learned a lot about bird calls and all, which even today I can recognize because that was my training. We were trained early morning, 4 o'clock, you have to go out in the field and then look at the birds. If you can't see them, you record them by voice. We didn't have any GPS and all, as Dr. Sharma yesterday said, you should take photograph, but then take a GPS and things like that. These are nowadays. At that time, whatever we saw in the forest, nobody would see it, and whatever we reported was accepted as a fact. There were few cheaters were also. I know one of my senior scientists working over there was finally removed from the university later on for a false thesis on a bird, which from Moscow University or something, which he has never seen even. Okay, so that also happens. But that was a good beginning. After I left them after a year, because I thought as a research assistant, I wanted to become a JRF, but they didn't allow me to go for that. They said, you are not even an MSc. So first do your master's. So I went for my master's. And the next best option was for me to go for forest service. And before my MSc exams, I got into forest service. My results came later. And this 1 year experience with Salim Ali, with BNHS, actually helped me in getting through the exam because, even in those days, we had about 30,000 students appearing, all science graduates. When I went to UPSC hall in Allahabad, 2,000 sitting capacity, and I could see topper of physics of 2 years back and chemistry topper and maths topper and things like that. That topper actually became an IAS afterward. He topped in IAS also. So you were lost. That not even an MSc, and how you will appear and how you'll compete with this crowd. That was a very selected sample of the crowd at Allahabad. All over India, there were people appearing, almost 30,000. So finally, whatever I knew, I just wrote about botany and zoology, 2 papers, and 1 general studies, general knowledge, and waited eagerly for the result. And yeah, the result came. 300 were selected in the written examination, and my name was there. So that was a big achievement for me at that time. And then we started preparing for the interview and all. An interview, I was really helped because I have worked in the field. That experience counted because I almost had a tiff with one of the expert member who happened to be the professor from Allahabad, Delhi University, and maybe he was not happy with Allahabad fellows or so. So I was raised questions which were theoretical. I said, "You have already tested me in my theoretical knowledge. Ask me something else." And then he started asking those questions which I couldn't answer. So I was at a loss. And the chairman, who happened to be the retired vice air chief marshal of Air Force, Sardarji, he helped me, Mr. Saxena, and he took me, okay, you were trekking and you worked with Dr. Salim Ali, and okay, tell us about this. And that way, he actually helped me. And that day, six of us who appeared for the interview, five were selected. I only got 120 marks out of 200, but that year my maximum was 140. And because of this 120, I could get 75th rank in 150 batch. And thanks to Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the number of entrants, the posts were increased. Otherwise, earlier was 60, 70 people were taking. Again, the number had come down. So this is how life takes you. And I would say that whatever you are doing, don't keep your eyes and options shut. Don't close them. Keep them open all the time, and opportunities will come to you, and you have to just grab it. And by this type of gathering, when you listen to other people and how they have achieved what they have achieved, you will really surprised to know that such things also happen. This work can also be done. We have not thought about this. So that's what happens. Otherwise, the bookish knowledge will not lead you much, because with the samples which I used to see in my lab in Allahabad University, I could see them live on coastal area, octopuses and squids and things like that. At that time, the birds. So when I came back for my MSc, my cell biology, cytology, the professor, Dr. Deepika Kaul, she was working on chromosomes, and I had taken my special paper, cytology. So I used to get a call from her researcher, "Madam is calling you." I said, "What happened?" "Oh, some bird has come. She wants you to identify that bird." So that way I was helping her also, because she was working. Her paper had published at that time in Science and Nature and like that. So she was working on chromosomes with very basic facilities. Hardly one optical telescope was there. One electron microscope had come in botany department, which was a much advanced department in those days, Allahabad. So this helps. So I would suggest that keep your options open. Don't get disoriented or disappointed, even if you lose something, or if you don't lose hope. So after this type of experiences, you know, other opportunities also come. You should take over, like Antarctica. I went to Antarctica, but it just didn't happen all of a sudden. I was in class 12th, for example, and I saw a movie which was a trans-Antarctic expedition, one of the last of the great exploration, you can say, which was done under Commonwealth by one team. Is traveled from the west coast of Antarctica, and other traveled from east coast of from the New Zealand side, headed by Dr. Edmund Hillary, none other than Edmund Hillary, the first Everester. And they cross. And that film was in color. It was made in 1958, and I saw that in 1990 and 1977 when I was in class 12th. And that film, that time I decided, next opportunity in my life, I will go to Antarctica, just like that. Fine. And that opportunity comes to me when I land up in Wildlife Institute of India as a faculty member. And that year, one person had just gone there and come back. And they had a research program of monitoring birds and mammals diversity across the ocean, Indian Ocean. In those days, we used to sail from Wasco to Antarctica, almost 10,000 kilometer of a line transit. So you are traveling along this huge transit, and then we were observing. So that was a project. So looking at the mammals, marine mammals, and the oceanic and pelagic birds across the Indian Ocean. So second team was already selected, one person. The next one, he said, no, you are a faculty member. How can you go? The researchers are going, and you are not supposed to go like that. You do teaching and all. I said, nothing doing. Whatever happens, I am going next year. So finally he agreed, but he also put a researcher. He didn't believe me that as a forest officer, IFS officer, I may not be doing any research. I may be just enjoying myself. So he put a faculty scientist also with me, Dr. Hussain. I said, no issue. A good company is always good, because such a line transit, you can't monitor everything whole day. And when you cross the Southern Ocean side, the daylight increases, and by the time you reach Antarctica, the whole day is day. There's no night because we are really going there in summers, and you have to create night to sleep. Otherwise the animals are active whole. So that was a good experience, and that helped me again. I went to an ocean development department, which was organizing Antarctic program as a director, and then I was looking after these programs. Even Goa University was connected. We had set up ocean science and technology cells in those days, and I was given this program to look after. And the Goa University was faltering on some aspects. It was in the marine microbiology, and then we revived it. I met the vice chancellor over here, and we have Antarctica Center also in Wasco. So I kept on coming to Goa at that time, and I really liked Goa, the way the work was happening, the atmosphere, the entire environment. And that also again helps you if you are in your environment and you start loving that environment. Like Andamans, I spent 17 years, and I can still go back. The first term was 10 years, and went back again and went back again, and that's it. And that opened an opportunity for me. The entire marine opened an opportunity for me to look at the world. Except South America, I have touched all the continents. So life is just like that. I will just share my experiences, and nothing much to talk because you have already had a heavy dose of. Because yesterday, some of the technical sessions, when you listen to these talks, I sat through the oral presentation also. It's good. You had less time, 8 minutes, and nothing to share your thing. But still, you should keep in mind that when you are speaking, the these TLCs and BMCs, the short form should not be used, so that others who are not very familiar with these things can get also follow you what you are speaking. Try to make it more it can be understood by all. You should not only focus it to the judge or to your professor and all, because they know everything. So you tell your thing in a way it can be explained and it can be understood by even a common man, then you have hit the point, and that will give you the maximum result. So all those things, statistical analysis, the questions were asked, what was the sample size and all those things. Yeah, you can show them in your figures, but when you speak up, when you analyze, do the discussion, my advice is please make it so simple and so understandable. Link it with real life or some other examples which a lay person can also follow. Your poster presentation, I have not seen them, but yeah, I would presume that you try to explain. But sometimes even on a slide, when you make a presentation, if you put more than 7 to 8 sentences, nobody can see anything, nobody will read through it. So don't put everything over there. Put points, just points, and then speak up, explain. Then you can have footnotes, you can have text or figures attached to that, go back and forth. You can do it in PowerPoint presentation, very simple things. Don't put everything on one slide, and then the, no, people lose track or lose interest in your talk. So these small things, and that's what I would like to share with you. And I really enjoyed the session yesterday also. Uh, Ideally, I would say this is a very good effort which has been started by Goa University. I remember WIA, Wildlife Institute of India. Every year we had an annual research seminar in October. So all the field researchers will come back to the university, to the WIA in October, 15 days before, do the whatever field work they have done, do the analysis and things like that with their co-guides and investigators, and prepare for this presentation. And this annual seminar used to be very intense seminar where the field managers will be called, professors will be called, and the hall will be full, like 1,500 capacity hall. A lot of students from Garhwal University will come, the FRI deemed university students will come. They will listen to it and what's happening. And I'm talking about 97, 98, 99, those days. The PowerPoint had come, so things were easy, the computer and things like that. We were using GPS. We had the Garmin and things like that, but very expensive at that time. I have used satellite imageries like Landsat, for example, when I was working for Meghalaya on a large landscape level. So I could get satellite imagery of Landsat through NRSA, and that helped me in analyzing about 2,500 square kilometers, the entire landscape, looking at the zoom practices and how the vegetation is growing up, looking at the old fallow, 25 years old fallow, and then comparing it. So things like that, the technology has to be used, but then it has to be used judiciously. And don't shut down your this thing. So this intense research seminar 1 hour will be given to our researcher to present, and a lot of questions will be asked. And again, the best presenter award was also there. But that actually really helped a researcher to either streamline his or her research and work focused way, or if something is going wrong, one can rectify it at the earlier stages and all things. So that helps. So I would request this department, the biological sciences and biotechnology, please continue with this thing. Even if it is not funded by DST or DBT or UGC, have in-house this thing, so that all researchers can come together and share and then discuss. And 2 days, simple things, not very elaborate, but that should be continued. And I think that's a good thing. And invite all others also, other departments, even the arts faculty, they should join you, because they can give you a lot of things. I remember in my hostel days, you might have heard of Dr. Firaq Gorakhpuri, a very eminent Urdu laureate, a poet, but he was a professor of English in Allahabad University. Okay. And when we were studying, he was almost 82 years old. I'm talking about 79. We invited him to give us a talk. He was so frail that we had to literally lift him and bring him to the dais. And he was talking to us. The hall was jam packed because usually he was not speaking, he was not coming out. So getting Dr. Firak in public, in person, was a rare thing. I think half university came in our hostel, and our auditorium was full. And I was trying to record that speech, but that time light failed, so the speaker was not working, and it was a lot of booming was this, the sounds were there. So my recording was not very good. I had a very good Sony recorder from somebody, but I couldn't get the very good record. But I was thinking, without this thing, how he'll speak, how he'll listen. But when this voice came from his, it was like startling. He started with the word, I will use it here again, it's very relevant. He said compartmentalization. And what? He said, we are creating walls, artificial walls between the departments. We don't talk to each other. He said, for example, take zoology department, take psychology department. Both of these departments are actually talking about behavior, animal behavior or human behavior, but it is behavior. And humans have come from animals. So a lot of behavioral studies can be integrated. A lot of research should not be done or repeated here and there. The students should come together. He said, that's what we have done. The zoology person doesn't know where is what's happening in psychology, and psychology person is not telling what's happening to the zoology person. And that's what a English professor is speaking, and who has actually excelled in language, Urdu language, Farag Gorakhpuri. So that was very eye-opening for us, and yeah, we really thought, this is what he said: break all the walls. The knowledge cannot be contained by creating artificial walls or boundaries, and it's not my turf or your turf. Anyone can come and work in my field, in your field, and one should help each other, and that's the way we can progress. So I hope that in coming years, more and more student researcher across discipline will participate in such seminar, and that Goa University will continue to make this as a regular program in future. And I'm really thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity and to interact with researchers and students. No, I don't get that much opportunity. Earlier, I used to get call, or we used to organize a lot of programs. Like I started the bird festival, and Meenalji, I know from those bird festivals, she'll carry her two young daughters also with her, camping in Poinganim in tents with difficult condition. But I think that those girls will really do very well. I can share. I was taken up by my grandson, who is 15 months old, has just come from Bangalore, and he can identify three birds at least now. A crow he knows, quail he identifies by call, and he try to mimic it, and all other birds are chia, so he knows all the birds. So even on a photograph, he'll say bird chia. So that's it. The birds will, they have feathers, they've got flying capabilities. So I wish you all grand success in your life. Please fly free without any boundaries. The migrants don't need boundaries, they don't need any visa and all. The one bird I got when I was ringing one day early morning, 5 o'clock, a small 10 gram, 20 gram bird comes in my hand. There was a ring already there in her. I removed that ring. It was a ring which she was ringed in Australia. And this bird had little listed, Calidus minuta, has flown all the way to Australia once in her lifetime or his lifetime, flew back and came back to India at Point Calimar after a few years. And that record, we could get it. And we put our ring, remove that ring, and send it to the details to Australia, whichever industry it was done. So, in those days, now we've got satellite trackers. You can put Amur Falcon, if you see, you can have actually live coverage tracking of animals. I have helped in tracking like leatherback turtles in Andamans, putting these satellite transmitters. And Dr. Sharma was saying that we don't go to the field, and you should take GPS and all. So I must share with you, by the forest department, we have come up with an app which is a GPS based app, and each forest guard and all of Project Tiger areas have to carry this phone and keep recording photographs, evidences, sound, and everything in his or her walk, everyday walk, and offline one has to record if there's no connectivity. Once you come to the field, from the field to the range office, you upload that on the computer. Our DFO, the PCCF, everyone can actually see what one particular staff has done on that day. Actually, earlier we were monitoring by radio collaring tigers and others. Now we are monitoring what tigers are doing by radio collaring the human beings, because they are radio collared. No? I can know where you have gone, whether you appeared for exam or somebody else appeared, because your mobile can be tracked. Whether you are physically present or not, you cannot deny that. Or you give it to somebody, it's become difficult. If you say take a photograph of you before you start recording everything, so it will be difficult to impersonate also. So all the best. Technology is with you, a lot of opportunities, and I hope your guides, your teachers, they are the best guides, and they will keep you guiding in the right direction. All the best from my side. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your kind and inspiring words, sir. I'm sure that your words, your story, and your suggestions has impacted our audience in a powerful manner. As a mark of gratitude and respect, I would like to request Professor Savita Kerkar to felicitate our chief guest with a memento. Thank you, ma'am. Before announcing the names of the winners of the poster presentation and the oral presentation, if there is any participant in the audience who would like to say anything about the conference or give any kind of feedback, the mic is open. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries off the dais, my fellow participants, and one and all. Before I give my feedback, I would like to tell the August gathering that today is the World Wildlife Day. And yes, very happy to listen to I will not say retired IFS officer, but even the just joining IFS officer may not be so active as you are. So on the occasion of the World Wildlife Day, able to listen to such a grand person who has served for a number of years in the forest department is, I think, toppings on the ice creams. So thank you very much, sir. Now coming to the feedback of the national conference, I would like to acknowledge one and all. Organizing a national conference is just like, I can say, a garland. In a garland, we have the convener, organizing secretaries, members of the various committees. They are just like the threads in the garland, which we cannot see from the outside. Stronger the thread, stronger is the garland. And the various invited talks, the resource persons, are just like beautiful flowers, those who have been arranged in a beautiful manner for the right cause. And what is the cause? Cause is the animal sciences integrated solution for the sustainability. All the resource persons with the different flowers arranged in the garland. And in the garland, we have a center flower called the keynote address. Keynote address is the central flower, which is the attraction, the main attraction. And the deliberations and the oral presentations and the poster presentations, they're just like the sparklings, what we call in Marathi, sakaki, on that beautiful garland. So overall, it forms a great thing for the national conference to be organized. The credit goes to one and all. The credit goes to the organizers, secretaries, and all the members, all the students of the MSc and the research from the zoology discipline. We don't see them, but it's the strong thread which keeps everything in place for the right time, for the right cause. So this is my feedback. We had a great time for the 3 days. We had a great academic feast for the last 3 days. And yes, I would like to give the, it's not possible for me to give all the names, but yes, we call it the key persons to whom I would like to acknowledge. First is the Professor I.K. Pai, who told me that we are organizing so and so conference. So would you like to come? Yes. So he gave me the mobile number of the various persons. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Nitin Sawant sir. Then I would like to acknowledge. I had a word, interaction with Dr. Yes, yeah, Shabana madam, and one and all those who have helped me to come over here and enjoy the feast. And yes, I make great friends during the conference organizations. And yes, in the long term, I will be interacting with all those. I have to collect the phone numbers and mobile numbers with them. And yes, last but not least, I wish this university and the zoology discipline a great success in all the activities you'll be undertaking from time to time. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. You have beautifully represented and acknowledged the organization of this conference. Is there anybody else? Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Dr. Nitin is saying that you should also go and say something. So thank you very much. It was indeed excellent conference. I am experienced in the last 40 years in my career. I started going to such conferences in 1977. And Savita ji, Shamshad madam, Saxena ji, and Alvino. I used to address Shamshed. And I thought a big man and organizing. I had not seen her. Then she said, "Sir, I'm Shamshad." Oh, it's a, but she's working like a Shamshed, no doubt. Means we cannot differentiate that a man can always organize, but there is a combination of XX and XY chromosomes here in organizing things. So, friends, I have few suggestions. Of course, it was an excellent organization. And in 1977 and 1979, these 2 years, we were receiving in Bhubaneswar, in Rajasthan University, some foreign scientists also. And these were coming to address the gathering, but particularly guiding the young students to grow. So when I came across and interacted with young students, I think now time has come. Now we are in a digital world. We can guide. Suppose students are putting their posters or oral presentation. So they always need guidance. They want to have that in what direction they want to go. So if there is a possibility, because Dean Madam is sitting here. She is a big campus, big organization, or the other thing. That suppose there are 10 students who are having some orientation, they want to become a good scientist, and if you can sort out that these 10 students can be guided by such people who are having experience, I think such interaction we should promote now. We are in a evolutionary phase of organizing conferences. There was a time when I know a big Allahabad University and Professor U.S. Srivastav, a big zoology giant. And he was in my selection committee when I became assistant professor at the age of 21 years of age. So a very experienced person, knowledgeable person, and he says considered as one of the significant. Says similarly, Sivatosh Mukherjee in JNU, Professor P.N. Srivastav, these were my teachers. So getting guidance at the age of, for example, those students who are doing their graduation and post-graduation between the age of 19 to 21, there are three things which I learned and I got good advantage. First thing is, if there is a possibility to do language course, like in Rajasthan University when I was doing my master's in 1977, 75 to 77, German, French, and Russian. These language departments were there. So I did diploma in German and French. And these were very helpful because there are so much literature available in other languages also. We all always consider the literature that is there in English. But there are many nice publications in the area of developmental biology. There are so many French and German publications were there. Hans Spiemann, who got Nobel Prize, he wrote everything in German. There was not a single line in English. So students should be encouraged by those big administrators that they may get at least one language exposure. Second thing is nowadays, artificial intelligence and augmented and virtual realities are coming up. I am in NEP 2020 and guiding. So there, if we can encourage them that how they can use the AI tools in their research. See, it's a big task. And India is leading. I know because I am handling these things. So, I mean, the modern technologies, what yesterday I was discussing with Mr. Saxena, those things, I'm very frank. If I know something right, I say right. If I know something wrong, I don't compromise. And this made me. And all the senior researchers should give freedom to the young researchers. When I was very young, there was a very big concept that was coming that retinoids are interfering in mitosis and promoting mitosis. But in my all observations, more than 100 observations, I saw, no, it was not there. Retinoids were discouraging mitosis, means interfering in the mitosis. So I told to my supervisor, my all colleagues, they said, no, Sharma's observations are wrong. Maybe he's not feeding properly to the animals, etc. But I kept myself and I did not publish that finding. When I went to Germany for my postdoc, there that big pressure was not there. They provided me freedom. I used some more better parameters and I published a paper. It is still considered as a landmark that retinoids are interfering in keratocarcinoma, means they are reducing mitosis. So the young students should be given freedom, those who are joining research. It should not be like that I am biased in some findings and I am forcing all the students that they should follow what I know. Let them, and their feeling should be encouraged. And we should give confidence. See, what I realize in my research career, because I am giving this feedback on this platform, this is the most important component in the valedictory session, that what you come, what you understand and what you want to know. So those students who are having great knowledge, but they are not expressive, allow them to express. Allow them to say strongly, sir, this is wrong. This courage should be there. Madam, in my opinion, this observation should be taken into this consideration. I have seen many times in IIC Bangalore. I was there at IIC Center also. In WII also, many observations were there. So this way, like when I speak, that one day India would get Nobel Prize, it's a very big sentence. And our discovery will get Nobel Prize. Similarly, our Indian students should also have a confidence. Yes, we will do it. We will publish our papers in Nature. We will go very far in our research, because nowadays facilities are excellent facility in India, which were not there in Madam yours time and Sir yours time. But nowadays excellent facilities are there. Let our students should come out, be encouraged, be given confidence to whatever best level. And I am suggesting Government of India that there should be a hub or a reservoir of persons who can guide such students whenever there is a need of time. Because like I have experience of 40 years in a lot of technologies related to molecular biology, developmental biology, bioacoustics and other thing. I am ready to offer my knowledge, whatever, whenever is required. Such people are there in our country. Large number of people are there, but interaction is not there. So such students should be